Hoka Hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita Livestream of May the 26th, 2023. What will Alita find in Zalem and Jeru? Where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host of Muskogee Creek, and I am in Linville, North Carolina, small town just south of Boone, North Carolina. And with me are Lee, and he's from Fountain, Colorado. How's it going, Lee?
Hey, not too bad.
So how is everything out there in Colorado?
Kind of cool and rainy with a thunderstorm moving in.
Oh Lord. Okay,
Yeah.
well, yeah, we got decent weather here. A little overcast here in North Carolina, up in the mountains, but you know, uh, I mean, it is cloudy though, and it is a little cool. We've been getting cool nights here, so yeah, but no big deal. I guess the weather here is kind of similar to Colorado, except it's not dry here. It's humid,
Yeah.
whereas in Colorado, usually it's kind of dry there. So anyway. So I guess we'll have a couple other folks join a little bit later. Angelus is always late because it's hard for him to get out of bed, I think.
hmm
So, but that's the way that goes, I guess, when you're living in the future and it's in the morning, and there you have it.
In the future, in the morning on the other side of the planet.
That's exactly right. So, uh, before we really get started, though, let's talk about the petition here. I mean, everybody here has probably signed the petition already, but this is for mostly, I guess, the folks in the future. I mean, even the future beyond the Aussies. And I think we only picked up 6 signatures since last week, so kind of a little bit of a dip there, but still moving forward. Though we're still picking up more signatures, so that's nothing to really be too concerned about. And as you can see, we're approaching 178,000 signatures. And if you haven't signed the petition already, please go out there and do it. And once again, the Creek Pride. I don't know if I put the actual link in the description or not. No, it doesn't look like I did. So I'll have to do that as soon as the stream's over. Um, but anyway, this will help us with Disney, and let Disney know that that we're that the Alita Army, and not just the Alita Army but Alita fans, want that sequel, and that's definitely how that works for us. Also, Avatar: Way of Water. It's kind of gone. It's kind of at a plateau now in terms of making more and more money. It still made a little bit of money this past week, but now we're at the 5 month mark, I guess, and it's basically made $2.32 billion. So that's a lot of freaking money right there. That's nearly $500 million a month, which is awesome. And it is, like I say, I think it's the third highest uh, grossing movie of all times. And of course, James Cameron has got 3 of the top 4 highest grossing movies. So he's definitely in the driver's seat there on that one. So if you haven't seen Avatar: Way of Water, or Avatar 2 as it's called, by all means, try to go out there and watch that. If it's still in a theater, it may be in a theater here and there. But I think on June the 20th, I believe, is when the Blu-ray comes out. So uh, anyway, just one other piece of, I wouldn't call this news, but just to let you guys know, is that the Alita Army organization has successfully procured a one of those airplane banners, and we're going to fly that thing. Not we, the Alita Army's not going to fly that thing, but the air company, the Air Ads company, is going to fly that thing around Disney headquarters on June the 14th.
hmm
So be on the lookout for that. We'll be calling your attention to it. We just finalized it today. That's why I don't have a slide on it. So, but it's scheduled. It's going to happen. I think one of the things we got to do next is make sure we get a photographer out there to take video of it. So, or at least stills. of it, you know, so we can tweet that, let it go viral and stuff like that. So, any thoughts there, Lee?
Now, off the top of my head, sounds pretty good so far.
Yeah, we're trying to push this, you know, is what we're doing in that Alita Army organization. We we don't own the Alita Army, you know, for sure. That's not what the purpose of the organization is. We're strictly promotional. That's all we do. We're just here to help the fandom. So that's kind of what the whole thing is.
And perhaps advocate for Alita.
Oh, absolutely. That's our number one objective, I guess, and our number one, the number one item on our mission, I guess, is to advocate for a sequel, you know, for Alita. So, you know, I don't know of any other fandom that has actually, you know, come up with a company like we have to do this. I'm not aware, even the Star Trek or the fandom hasn't done that, nor has Star Wars. None of these folks have actually come up with a company to do this. So I guess in that regard, we're we're the first, I guess. And there's about 10 or 12 of us that meet, and we meet about maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks. And as you can imagine, it's like herding cats is what it's like. But it's a lot of fun, and we're able to get things done, I think. So, okay. So anyway, I guess that's pretty much it. And it's just right now, it's just Lee and I, but we're going to press on regardless, as they would say in the UK. If Lottie was here, I don't know if he'd recognize that or not. That'd be more of an older generation thing in the UK, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, you've seen that thing, keep calm and carry on, or something like that. That's
yeah, I'm well familiar with that one.
Yeah, that one that's been around for a while too, you know. So
just a note. Sounds like it's getting a little rough out there, so I'm not sure if my power will go down or not. Usually doesn't, but if it does, just to let you know, that's probably why you lost me.
Okay. Well, if we do, I guess so. There's Angelus. Good day, Angelus.
Howdy.
Okay.
Hokahay has now become the new greeting in Australia, and amongst us Creek Indians, we're going to start saying "good day, mate." So we got a little international amity going here. I guess.
I think channel does not exist was asking if there's a link to the petition.
Well, you know what? Let's give her one.
Or even the stream.
Yeah, that too.
Or both.
There is a link, and I don't.
A link to get on the stream.
Yeah,
that's what she was asking for. Okay.
Yeah, there it is. Channel, if you want to come on.
And anyone else that's out in the live chat listening, feel free to click on that link if you wanted to come on and say Ich liebe Alita.
Yeah, you can do that.
Or the same thing in your native tongue.
Hey, Channel.
Hey.
How are you doing, girl?
Great. I finally finished the... Yeah.
Or I should have said, how are you doing, lady, I guess. Is what I should have said. Not girl, but just lady. So, sorry about that.
No problem.
All right. So how are things there in Poland, I guess is where you are, right?
Yeah, Poland.
Nice. So we got a pretty wide distribution here. I'm in North Carolina this week, and next week I'll be in North Carolina. I'll be back in Colorado the week after that. Lee's in Colorado. Of course, Angelus is from down under, down in Strya, or Australia, and of course Channel's in Poland. So we got all the bases covered, I think. Okay, so what we want to talk about here is that this is, I guess this is food for thought for possible material for a sequel. Now, we've talked about sequels before on this stream and on Radio Chaos, but I don't know if we've gone to the detail of, which city, I guess, if you want to call them cities, or which location and what's to be had, at those locations. In this particular case, Zalem and Jeru. And of course, in the manga, Zalem is called Tiferes and Jeru is called Kithares. So, or Tafaris, I guess, is actually Zalem, and Jeru is Kithares. So, and as everybody on this stream knows, Zalem is the city that's floating above Iron City, and Jeru is kind of the star city. It's up in geosynchronous orbit, and it is physically connected to Zalem, and there's a kind of like a space elevator that connects the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
true that the reason.
Go
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Channel.
Is it true that the reason they changed the name from Zalem to Tiferes is so Americans wouldn't immediately think of the Zalem where they burned witches? Because that's the version I read, and I couldn't find any other reason why they changed the name to something that's harder to pronounce.
Well, I thought of that myself, what they're calling it Zalem like that. But the thing of it is, in America, that particular city or locale is actually Salem, which is an Salem.
Yeah, and Tefaris, actually, that name came within the Alita story, as far as I'm aware. Tefaris came before Zalem did.
Yeah, that's right. Zalem, I think, is an adaptation that, yes, probably like you say, Channel, is just so Americans can understand it, I guess, or English.
Yeah, I know it's pronounced different, but if it's just written, then Zalem and Salem look very, very similar in spelling.
Yes, they do.
That is actually the first thing that I thought of when I saw Zalem. I was like, that looks similar to Salem.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
and if you know if you know a little bit about American history, this is pre-Revolutionary War, I guess, 16th century or somewhere in there, in the early 1700s, I think, is where they had the Salem witch trials, and people were burned at the stake and stuff like that, which is pretty horrible, for being called because they were witches.
Not just burned to the stake. Some were otherwise tortured to death as well.
Yeah, that's right. They were.
Including one old man, I think it was, who was crushed under a press.
Yeah. So, us humans, sometimes we're not very kind to each other, are we? So.
Not really, no.
Yeah, we can be pretty mean to each other at times, I guess, which hopefully we'll get past that one day. So anyway, let's not start on to the political stuff here, though.
So can cyborgs look?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, looks like we lost Lee. So looks like Lee warned us that there he is. He's
was moving my phone and
he's back.
The socket on my.
You dropped off for a little bit there, Lee.
I saw that when I heard the click on my thing.
Yeah. So anyways, we were saying, yes, Zalem, it looks very much like Salem, and I guess I don't know what the parallels there are, because I don't know if they're in the story. There are really no witches up in Zalem that I'm aware of from reading the manga, Oh, by the way, Angelus, I decided that what I was going to do when I was flying out here to North Carolina from Denver, that I took Volume 8 of Mars Chronicles and I read it on the flight. Actually, it didn't take me very long either. I mean, I was less than an hour into flight and I was done with it, So I really like.
They're usually not very long. They're usually pretty short.
I like that Kuhn character. He's pretty cool. I like him a lot. And they got that one woman, I guess. What's her name? Yanniklava or something like that. That's trying to kill him, and you got that big ass cyborg after him and stuff like that. Then
one that looks like a shark with braces.
Yeah, that's right. And then of course they've got Gilda in there and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of it. I mean, I got into it so fast. I was reading it really fast. Because I was getting into it. And we were barely off the runway when I finished reading it. So but I enjoyed it a lot. So anyway, just to get back to the topic here, as we said, in the, we've talked about sequels a lot, on this stream and Radio Chaos. but we never really talked too much about, what Alita might encounter when she goes to Zalem, or what she may encounter when she goes to Jeru. Of course, Zalem is. We've talked, I guess, a little bit about the technology of it. If some folks remember, about 3 years ago or so, maybe 2.5 years ago, we actually did a stream on Radio Chaos about the physics behind Zalem and Jeru. Whereas Jeru is in geosynchronous orbit, but since Zalem is only 2 miles above the surface of the Earth, it's not in geosynchronous orbit at all, because that you just couldn't be at that altitude. And the problem is that unless you had a really powerful computer that was maintaining, I guess you would say the not just the structure, but the kind of where both the cities are located, because actually Zalem is actually flying like you'd fly an airplane. It's not flying with lift and that kind of thing like you would think, but what it is doing is it's having to be adjusted so the space elevator between Jeru and Zalem doesn't break, because the stresses on that particular part of the structure, that space elevator, would be so great that if you didn't have some kind of controlling system, that would maintain, the angular, I guess you'd say the angular proportions and where they sit, where they're exactly over the.
Well, that's the thing. Apparently, there are some forces at play that we may not be aware of or very familiar with, because there is a lot of the concepts they've got for the space elevators don't require any of that. The real world concepts for space elevators they've got that have been kicking around don't require anything about that.
Yeah, I think in some of those, though, they don't have those massive city-sized structures, though, on each end. And I think that's what now, you're probably right about that, Lee, because, this is 500 years in the future, obviously, and that's technology way beyond what we have. So all I have to go by here now is what we know today,
Yeah.
So, certainly they may have solved a lot of those engineering problems relatively easy, where they don't have that kind of a challenge for it like we would have today. I think today we could probably build a space elevator, probably,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My only idea of a space elevator, aside from Alita, was the one in the book by Michio Kaku, and it was explained there that the biggest problem from the space elevator would be the risk, not the biggest, but one of the biggest would be how to make it safe in case of an evacuation.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the problems they would have too, they would have to evacuate it for sure, but if they had to. But, in space, there's really no kind of meteorological stresses on the structure. It's out in the vacuum. Whereas Zalem, that'd be Jeru, Zalem is going to be subject to wind. If a hurricane or say some typhoon was to hit it, that would be a stress on it,
Mm-hmm.
So and it would be one that would have to be compensated for, by who knows what means, or else it would break the space elevator, So, particularly if something like a tornado hit it, that'd be, that'd be pretty.
Yeah, it would have to be engineered in such a way as to withstand those kinds of stresses on it. Definitely.
Yeah, that's right. So, and
it would have to be something stronger than the materials we've got now, I think, which I think they keep coming up with some new, various sort of nanotubule and graphene type materials. It's like every month, it seems.
Yeah. Go ahead, Channel.
The one in Michio Kaku's book was also, there was a really long description of nanocarbon something. I would go look for the book and quote it, but the version I have is a Polish translation, so that wouldn't be useful in the stream.
Well, I saw something one time, and I can't recall where it was, where they actually were talking about it being more of a kind of a carbon titanium nanotube construct of some sort, alloy, you know, that would be super strong, you know. It would have to be certainly light, you know, for sure, you know, or at least lighter than steel, you know, or else that would increase the stress on it. You know, I mean, yeah, it might be more durable, but the stress would be greater. So I don't know, you know. Certainly, I'm not an engineer, that's for sure. So I took pre-engineering in college, but that wasn't that many.
Apparently, there's a lot of talk of the cable, the space elevator that's connecting the 2 points, one in geosynchronous orbit and one on the surface of the Earth. Apparently, a lot of talk about the tension between centrifugal force and gravitational force doing a lot of the work for us. So apparently there's very little, once you get it positioned exactly right, it's completely hands off. You don't need to do anything to it after that.
Yeah, I don't know. I may have my doubts about that. I don't know, you know.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of these engineers are saying it's like once you get it to a certain point, it's like getting it in the position like that, that's the big problem.
Yeah.
We don't really have the technology to do that yet. But once we did, it's like once you get it positioned properly, then gravity and centrifugal force just take over for you from there.
Yeah, if they can figure out what like the balancing point of that, you know, wherever that is, you know, that would help. But my concern would be the external forces on it that wouldn't just be at equilibrium. Like I say, you know, maybe a tornado or a hurricane hits Zalem, or say some orbital, some, you know, astrophysical orbital.
I think that's where
perturbations and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's where the high technology in the Alita movieverse comes into play, and the mangaverse. Where you've got, I was just going to say real quick, where you've got like a lot of electromagnetic forces that they can generate with these massive systems that probably help stabilize a lot of that. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Something I'm kind of interested in also from a physical standpoint is, so when the onion ring is separated from Jeru, Zalem falls, so there has to be like, they have to balance, Jeru and Zalem have to balance, their weight has to balance out. Yes. So like if Zalem, there's nothing changing in Zalem because it's pretty static, does that mean there's a strict limit on how, what's the wiggle room for mass in how big a spaceship can attach itself to Jeru before it starts starts to get off balance?
Yeah, I was just looking up that just real quick just to see if I could find anything on it, and what I did find is a long piece written on a lot of intricacies regarding that, and apparently it's a fairly complicated subject.
Well, they certainly have a powerful enough computer to you know, kind of manage the controlling mechanisms. That Melchizedek is a super fast, super powerful quantum computer, you know, that could, you know, it'd be hundreds of years in advance of any computing system we have.
That's the thing. I found out, to my surprise, we actually have working prototypes of quantum computers today.
We do. Yep. As a matter of fact, we even talked about that at that stream about 2.5 years ago. But I think Melchizedek would be just
orders of magnitude higher
than anything we have today. It might be a prototype.
Oh, undoubtedly, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be ridiculously fast. I mean, you know, they will compute or they will try to describe the processing speed of computers now in like something like either millions of floating point operations per second, or say millions of instructions per second, or megaflops or MIPS, you know, in those kind of terms. But it seems to me that Melchizedek, being 500 years in the future, is probably, who knows how fast it is. It's probably, it could be millions of times faster than any computer, even the supercomputers we have now, you know. And it most certainly, I think, to manage the navigational and propulsion systems on both of these things, because it's like Channel says, if a large spaceship docks on Jeru, that's going to change its weight, which is going to change its orbital configuration, which will put some additional stress on the space.
I have a feeling you probably would not dock to it. You'd probably use shuttles. You'd probably park it in a geosynchronous orbit right next to it, because that way they're both in geosynchronous orbits next to each other, and then just shuttle people across using smaller, lighter craft.
And then you'd have the problem of the moon. You know, the moon orbiting the Earth causes the high and low tide on the Earth. Well, it's certainly going to have a gravitational effect on Jeru. So, you know, it's going to have to adjust for that too. But I agree with you, Lee. I think their technology is so advanced compared to ours that that's probably not a big issue for them. You know.
Well, not to mention today's concepts for a space elevator already seem to take all of that into account as well. And apparently it's like, if we could actually get the technology to build a space elevator, we'd be able to keep it up with just today's technology.
Cool.
I mean, at least according to the NASA engineers and stuff that I was reading up on.
Cool.
Once you're reading up on, I'm kind of interested in the cities, because was Jeru built on ground and then somehow shot into space and attached to the elevator, or was it built already in space?
Yeah, I really doubt it was built on the ground. More than likely, they use the space elevator as the vehicle to get materials into orbit to build it while building Zalem on the closer to Earth.
Probably that.
And again, you have to keep them balanced, because Zalem was originally on a column, so Zalem wasn't that horribly difficult to build. It would be later hard to maintain, but it wasn't that much of a nightmare, of an engineering nightmare to build. Jeru would be.
Actually, according to the stats they've got on space elevators today in the real world, building Jeru would be easier
than building Zalem, or than building the elevator.
And they probably
than building the elevator, from the sound of it.
And they probably used a combination of not just sending stuff up through the space elevator, but they probably had spacecraft to take some resources up too. They probably did a combination.
They wouldn't need it. According to the stats on the space elevator, the best thing about a space elevator is you don't need any spacecraft. You can send up all the materials you want at a tiny fraction of the energy cost of using spacecraft.
Ah.
I mean, that's the big point of a space elevator, apparently, is it's such a huge energy savings that you'd be silly not to use it.
Well, maybe Elon Musk will build one.
We'll see. He seems to be having trouble getting Starship off the ground.
Yeah, well, he seems to have trouble with Twitter even.
He seems to be having trouble with a lot of things,
Speaking of the balance of, again, Jeru and Zalem having to be the same weight, what would happen if Den succeeded in dropping Zalem, or some terrorist attacker succeeded in dropping Zalem, whatever? If Zalem dropped, would Jeru be pulled down with it, or would Jeru be shot into space, or would the other side of the ring somehow hold Jeru in place? What would happen if Zalem was destroyed?
They probably have some propulsion systems on Jeru that would compensate, say, if the space elevator was detached some way or destroyed.
But not to mention,
kind of like they do spacecraft today. You know, they'd probably just like retro rockets and stuff like that.
Yeah, propulsion system of some sort to keep it. But that's the thing, though, with Jeru being in a geosynchronous orbit, even if the space elevator is detached, Jeru remains in geosynchronous orbit. Nothing happens to it.
I don't know. I'd like to see that, because one of the things is that, you know, Jeru is basically holding up Zalem, and that's a lot of weight.
Well, the space elevator is actually what's keeping Zalem up off the ground.
Yeah, but the reason Zalem dropped is because when part of the onion ring was detached, Jeru now weighed significantly less than Zalem.
Yeah.
So but that's Zalem's weight Zalem's weight was bigger than the force of the centripetal force keeping Jeru on the other side. So Zalem pulled the whole system down.
Well, that's the thing. Kishiro, for all of his talent as a writer, isn't an engineer.
Yeah, that's right.
So it might have been, a bit of guesswork on his part, or he thought it was a neat idea, so he put it into the story.
Yeah. Well, I do think though that with technology as advanced as they'd have in the 25th century, that they would have that figured out in terms of a contingency plan. That if Zalem dropped like that,
you don't make a huge super mega structure like that without
with
some
just,
kind of backups in place to keep things
exactly right.
stable.
So they probably got powerful retro rockets on that thing, or something.
Maybe not even that. If they've got artificial gravity on starships, as well as the power to create stasis cages.
Yeah.
Then they probably got the ability to, sort of stabilize it in Earth's gravitational field somehow, so it just sort of sits there.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happens.
Yeah, who knows what kind of technology these people would have at that far in the future, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if they can harness the power of antimatter in a tiny heart-sized reactor and a little cyborg girl, then sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I realized something. So if karma is a physical force in the world of Alita, and also certain parts of engineering work like they do, apparently the world of Alita just follows different physical laws than ours.
Well, I wouldn't say karma is a physical thing, more that apparently it's like patterns from a person's activity. Also from informational patterns. It's some kind of a higher dimensional energy form that seems to manifest when people do something.
Yeah.
And it seems to have a sort of almost supernatural effect on people themselves. It doesn't really seem to have that much of an effect on, machines or anything like that.
It probably follows the precept too of every action there's a reaction.
So, something like that. There was actually a thing in, I think, the wiki. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, there was that thing, Karmatron Dynamics, I guess, is what what
Karmatron
Nova was really investing in that and really experimenting with it and stuff like that.
Huh. Karmatron. What the heck? That one's got it listed as an actual person. Oh, that's a...
the old reap what you sow and all that stuff comes into play there too, I guess. So, yeah. Anyway, so we got kind of way off track there, and that was my fault because I started us down that trip. I
mean, it is interesting.
Well, I wouldn't say it was necessarily off track because Zalem and Jeru being connected by a space elevator. That's kind of along the lines of what you're going to find when you get through all that.
Well, if you remember when Alita was fighting Gruishka down in the underworld, he said that where he lived is where the trash, where worlds upon worlds upon worlds, and he said 3. So you had the world of Jeru and the world of Zalem and the world of Iron City, and his underworld was under all 3 of those. So that would tell me that he's getting the trash, and that was, to me, was also a reference to, or at least kind of a subtle reference to Jeru, Zalem, and Iron City all being connected in some way, and all that trash ends up down there with him.
Well, that's assuming that he was even aware of another one beyond that. I mean, one of the themes that what's his name, the guy who created Avatar, James Cameron. Sorry, blanked on his name completely. One of the things that one of the themes that Cameron was trying to put into the movie was the themes of layers of the world, like when you and me, average people, we're down here in this layer of the world, and then above us are these governmental organizations, and there's people with power and wealth above that, and then there's another one layer above that. As you get through all of these various layers, you find the world starts looking a little different because of the way things interact with each other. You get so much money and power, say, for instance, that the way you look at the world is going to be very, very different from an average person with a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah. Well, I would say that Gruishka was probably somewhat aware of, what was above him, because remember, he was rebuilt by Nova, and Nova certainly knew about Jeru.
Well, he might have told them a little bit about it. Yeah,
He
so
might
he
have
probably
told him-
had some idea
yeah.
of that.
Yeah, he did. He probably had some very simple, just knowledge of its existence, maybe, and then of course he knew what Zalem was because everybody in Iron City at least had some concept of Zalem, even if they'd never been on it, been in Zalem, and then of course he was down under Iron City at that point, so
He said down under.
yeah, that's right. He's down. That's down under. That's right. I wonder if there's any damn funnel web spiders down there with Gerwishka there, Angelus. So
maybe there's a mutated version that's really freaking big.
Maybe there's some crocodiles, or as you guys would call them, alligators.
Well, crocodiles and alligators are different critters now. They're Angelus. They're
man-eating huntsman.
Yeah.
What's the difference between them, aside from the shape of the teeth or something?
Well, the snouts are different for sure. The crocodile has more of a pointed snout, and the alligator has more of a rounded snout. So, it's got a wider snout than the crocodile. I guess they're similar in a lot of ways, But, so anyway, yeah, who knows what's down there where Gerwishka is? Yeah, probably 7-foot diameter huntsman spiders. Boy, that'd be scary as shit, wouldn't it?
Lasso it and train it as a mount.
Yeah,
ride it around.
Although huntsmen, they're not particularly aggressive toward people, are they, Angelus? That's been my understanding.
No.
But I think funnel web spiders can be aggressive to humans. So, and of course, we got black widows over here, and they're pretty badass themselves.
One of my favorite, brown recluses.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we got those here in North Carolina. We don't have those in Colorado.
Oh yeah, we do. They like to hang out in the wood piles.
Oh,
we got them.
Damn, I got
redbacks as well.
Yeah. Well, here in North Carolina, they call them fiddlebacks because they're on their back. That little figure looks like a fiddle, or a violin, I guess, of some kind. I got a buddy of mine that he was getting some wood, from the wood pile, and he put his hat on top of it, and he put his hat on, and a brown recluse had climbed up in it and bit him right on top of the head. So he was in a mess there for a while,
Yeah.
So anyway, he got over it though, So
and here we got a kick-ass cyborg girl afraid of butterflies. So go figure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that one scene where she shoots out the side of that building, trying to shoot that butterfly. I just love it. Figure 4 says, "What the hell was that?" She just blew out the side of the building. She's trying to shoot this stupid butterfly. It was really funny, So anyway, off track again, So anyway, the idea here is
on track.
Well, yeah.
At least talking about Alita.
What are we gonna see in the next movie? Alita shooting a butterfly.
Oh, that'd be great. I don't think we'll see that in the next movie because that's going to be in the Badlands arc. That would be in the third movie.
Also, unfortunately, I think it's probably one of those little details that they may not have time to touch on, considering everything that they have to compact into, a movie-sized story.
I just hope they're not gonna completely cut out the scene where Ido wants, where someone's booing Alita during the motorball game, and Ido wants to hit him in the head with a bottle, but then realizes he got the bottle from Vector, so it's not gonna be easy to get another one, and
it's an expensive bottle of wine.
That's right.
Pipe instead.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that though. They got so little time in movies that they have to leave a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if they did. I think it'd be an entertaining scene. But
I think it would be too.
There's so many things they'd have to just cut out. Yeah.
Yeah. But the idea here is, though, in the subsequent movies, it's a natural journey for Alita to go to Zalem and then to Jeru, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems to me that would be. I mean, that's what's going to be in the sequel itself, I think. Now, what they may do, if they have more than 3 movies, which the Creek hopes they do, is they'll probably have some kind of up to Jeru thing in the second movie. I mean, not Jeru, up to Zalem in the second movie, and then she might, get into the yellow door thing in that room, and stuff like that, and then she goes into the Badlands for maybe the third movie, and then the fourth movie, she returns to Zalem and goes up to Jeru that way, so it could be something like that,
Mm-hmm. But it does bring up a good question of what exactly because in the manga, I mean, anybody who's read the manga knows what she'll find up there because it's in the manga. But the big mystery that was in the manga regarding the big secret of Tefaris does not appear to be present in the movie. Apparently, they're going to have something else going on there.
Actually, that one can still be saved, and there's a few people on Tumblr already explaining it over and over why it arguing about that, and also multiple explanations of why it can be saved. And the one that's most repeated is the fact that what we saw was either someone else's brain, which doesn't really make sense, or the fact that it was a fake brain and the chip is actually inside of that fake brain. And the fake brain is both for looks, and so it doesn't. It appears normal on scans, and also to add weight because a normal brain should weigh between 1 and 2 kilos. And I seriously doubt that chip would weigh a full kilo. And if it would, then a kilo, considering the 1 point, wouldn't also feel that good. So a fake brain to keep the weight and also keep the appearance of a full skull.
Yeah, possibly.
While the chip is inside of the fake brain, which would also serve as extra protection for the chip.
Well, she's got a pretty tough skull as it is, I think. I mean, she survived the fall down to...
Well, I think she was referring to Sharin's brain, which we actually see in one of the jars.
Yeah,
I was referring to Zalemite's brains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, when Sharin's brain gets cut out of her skull, do you see no sign of a biochip or anything? Which means it would have to actually be a real brain there, because as soon as they take it out, a medical practitioner is going to immediately notice something off if it's not a real brain.
Mm-hmm. Well, to be fair, with the, I'd imagine the telepresence chip would be close to, if not somewhere near the back of the head, because it's near the brain stem connecting to the spinal cord, and that's how the central nervous system would connect to the rest of the body, and blah, blah,
well, the
blah.
one that they had in that they showed on the monitor for Gruishka, it was on the side of his head, but there was leads going back to the base of the skull.
Yeah.
Well, they could just have only people with those telepresence chips handling Sharon's brain, and the chip would just be telling them, okay, ignore that. That's normal for Zalemite brains or something. Or if they could just have a ridiculously realistic fake brain, though that wouldn't be very practical. But
that's the thing. I just don't see any reason for them to actually include it. I mean, it doesn't really need to necessarily serve a purpose in the movie storyline. I mean, it's important in the manga, but the manga storyline is diverging quite a bit from the movie storyline, or the movie storyline is diverging quite a bit from the manga storyline.
Yeah, particularly in terms of Zalem. You get the idea. There's a whole bunch of people living up there and stuff like that. You remember when Alita goes up to Zalem, at least initially, she says, "Where is everybody?" I mean, she, I think eventually she runs into kids and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, by the time she gets up there, that whole secret of Tefaris had gotten out and resulted in a civil war, which resulted in lots of people getting killed off.
Yeah.
So if she goes up in the movie verse, there may not be unless they have some other reason for a civil war breaking out. She may end up finding, a bustling city where there's a lot of people there, unless Cameron's got some other reason for a civil war to break out, which results in her going up there. And again, just like with the manga verse, finding a city that is half deserted with most of the population gone.
More than half, because...
Well, yeah, it was more than half, but
because the kids, they don't really know how much of how many people there are alive, but Nora estimated that it's 80% of the population would be dead. So, assuming she's not way off, that's gonna be way more than half of the.
Oh yeah, but
yeah.
I guess I meant it more as a figure of speech than literally half.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Well, the thing about Alita going up to Zalem, I mean, probably everybody down in Iron City has these concepts or preconceptions of what's going on in Zalem, and because Hugo thought it was just like paradise, it was like utopia, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, because they were on top of that church. She said, "Wow, I wonder what it's like up there," and he said, "Well, a lot better than this dump down here." Well, he doesn't really know that, does he? Because he's never been there, but he has this preconceived
Well, it was also
notion
that whole thing with when she says it's like nobody's allowed to go up there. He says, well, that's what they want you to think. It's like, no, they actually don't want anybody going up there.
I have this weird feeling. I have this weird feeling that the moment Hugo found out Ido and Shirin are from Zalem, he whenever he had the chance, he just asked them random questions about Zalem.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably refused to answer, or just give him the shortest answer to just get him to get off their case. And he just tried to get a picture of Zalem asking whatever weird questions came to mind.
Or if they did answer him, there's a good possibility he would reject their answer because it doesn't fit with the reality he wants to be up there.
Yeah, or either that or Ido and Shirin were just quiet about it. They didn't want anybody to know they were from Zalem.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't think Shirin was too terribly shy about it. She may not have advertised it, but she kept that mark of Zalem. Yeah. And if I don't think they were the first exiles to ever come down from there. So more than likely there may have been some people in Iron City that were at least tangentially aware that that meant something.
Well, at least Shirin
agents planted because they would have implanted cyber doctors into society to install all the telepresence chips because of Nova's grand plan on mind controlling everyone or writing everyone like they did with Gruishka.
Or like he did with
that could well, that would only back up in Zalem as well.
That's the thing. That would only require maybe a couple hundred years prior to the movie, or even longer, 250 years or so, sometime in the past. Nova deciding to exile somebody with a telepresence chip in their head, sending them down, and then taking control of them in a bid to start implanting telepresence chips in other people, and then could just, grow it from there. I mean, he had centuries. He had all the time in the world.
And if he did it before the quarantine...
Go ahead, Channel.
And if he did it before the quarantine, it was by quarantine, I mean the rule that anyone who's ever on the surface isn't allowed back into Zalem. If he did it before the quarantine was made official, then he didn't even need to exile this person, who just send them on a mission and get them back up.
Yeah. I mean, he could have started the whole thing at any point in the past. There's no telling, really.
Yeah.
I mean, being immortal, he's not exactly on a time limit.
Yeah, well, also though he's already started that process too, because remember, Vector told Shirin that their eyes, their watchers behind.
Well, that's
the
what
eyes
I was saying. I mean, it's like
he
could have started at any point in the past, like centuries, like Channel was saying, even before the plague outbreak, because being immortal, he has all the time in the world really to do any of that stuff and get it all set up and put into place.
Yeah.
If he started early enough, he might have done it himself. This version of Nova wouldn't probably be that willing to do it himself, but...
Well, here's the other thing, too. He could have had whoever's in charge, like the predecessor to Vector, whoever was the quote-unquote boss of Iron City, he could have sent them down a package with specific types of cyberware in it, special neural optics, that kind of thing, and just had them given out for free even. I mean, he doesn't even have to tell anybody that there's a telepresence chip in him. It's just like, here's some really advanced, really good cybernetics. Go crazy.
At this, with the state of the city, most people, even if they were told, oh, by the way, there's a chance you'll get possessed, they wouldn't care. That's free, good quality cyberware.
Yeah. If somebody's desperate enough for something to... Yeah. And not to mention, with the desperate situation a lot of people are in Iron City, a big enough paycheck will overcome any reticence they'll have about, getting that kind of thing installed knowingly.
Or any kind of big upgrade to cyberware like that, where they're basically, you know, the
power
cyborg,
equals survival. Yeah,
exactly. That's right. That's exactly it. Because what that means is see, their cyborgs down in Iron City are getting like hand-me-down parts. You know, I mean,
Yep.
they're, you know, you remember that
refurbished,
one,
remanufactured,
exactly.
rebuilt.
Well, you remember that one farmer, the guy that was working on Farm 22 was in Ito's clinic when Alita came down the stairs. That arm didn't look like it was much more advanced than what we have today, did it?
So and Ito was saying, it's like
idea.
after, as he was working on him, he was saying, it's like, that's the best I can get it, I'm afraid. So he wasn't able to really do a lot to fix whatever was wrong with it.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently he got it working again, but it was apparently after the thing had already suffered through a long life and was showing the wear and tear.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, so there, yeah, you know, he could definitely, it'd be like a drug lord. You know, he's leading them to believe that they're getting something wonderful. All the while, he's kind of embedding his little, you know, his little hijacking tips in him, where he can, you know, where he can have eyes behind, or he can have his watching behind the eyes all throughout the city, you know.
Which actually brings up an interesting thought with Vector, is that Vector had a telepresence chip himself, but he didn't have any other obvious cybernetics. It could be that Vector offered, that Nova offered Vector the position in exchange for accepting a telepresence chip.
Yeah, that's right.
You put this in and I will give you all this power and luxury.
Yeah.
And then you be my agent for a number of projects I'm working on.
Yeah.
How do the glowing blue eyes work? Like, is everyone with is there some kind of nanobot?
I have a feeling
attached to the chip that goes into the person's eyes, or is everyone with a telepresence chip forced to wear contact lenses? Because I doubt they all had eye surgery.
I have a feeling
LED lights inside.
I have a feeling that was just a cinematic effect to let the audience know that, you know, something had happened there. But it was, of course, visible to characters.
But to Channel's point, though, there could be a connection between maybe something that would go over the cornea.
Well, it does actually affect the optics, because he gets sensory input from the entire body.
Yeah.
So it could be that when he takes control, there is some sort of feedback effect that alters the color of the irises.
Yeah, it could be.
The skin doesn't magically change color when he gets control of the touch and the hearing. So the eyes do change color. Which do any of the characters ever out loud react to the? Do any of the
not to
characters
the color change
react to the visual change?
Not to the color change, no. But they do. But who is it? Garushka. He does recognize when Vector is under the control of Nova. When he looks at him, he's about to strike him, and he sees that the eyes are that bright blue, and says Nova. And realizes that his master is in charge of the meat puppet.
Yeah.
There's no reason. There is no proof that the color change will be just for the sake of the audience. So it probably does change in the world. So
that's why I was changing my answer there. It's like when I realized that he gets sensory input, so there's probably some sort of feedback effect. And another thing to consider is the eyes, when we're from very young, does have the ability to change color. And it could be some aspect of the telepresence chip is tapping into that.
Yeah,
causing a color change, at least temporarily, while the chip is in control.
Yeah. Well, you kind of wonder when Alita gets up to Zalem. She's got, she's heard from, because remember, she has no memory of Zalem. If she did, she probably would. It would be like a nightmare to her, because that's where they tortured her and threw her over the side, But and if you remember that, there's that one panel in there where they show her arms cut off, her legs cut off. She's
that's in Jeru.
And again, that's also in the manga, which wasn't full-on invasion happening. It was just a covert ops.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, though, is if she did have a memory of Zalem, being that she was in the scrapyard, her memory of Zalem would be totally different, probably, than what the preconceived notions of the people in Iron City would have.
Oh, definitely.
So she's got a blank memory now. And so she gets up there and she sees, she's talked to Hugo. She talked to Ito. Who knows who else she talked to about Zalem. She gets up there and sees maybe it's totally different. How would she be disappointed in that, or would she be?
I don't think she would necessarily care that much, considering her focus on the mission to find and destroy Nova.
Yeah.
Getting up there and finding out it's different is like, it's different. And then she moves on to finding and killing the enemy.
But you remember there's that one panel that's in, I guess, in the manga where she's sitting on the side looking out over the landscape, when she's on Zalem, and she says, I once knew a boy who would have...
Oh, when she comes back in her Imaginos body, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, she obviously got some of these preconceived notions or information about Zalem that would be different than what she saw when she gets up there. You see where I'm going with that?
I think so, but it seemed more like she didn't really have much information at all, and at least in the manga. She had heard of it. She didn't know anything about it. So when she got up there, she was like, so this is Tafari's.
Mm-hmm. Who's she going to meet up there, by the way?
I'm going to guess people.
Yeah, that's right.
But more specifically, that's a good question.
There'd be children. She meets the children first.
Well, that's assuming that it's like I said, it's assuming it takes the line of the manga.
Of the manga, that's right.
If she comes up there and it's a fully operational city still, then it's probably going to be security guards.
Yeah. Which and
that's assuming that they also let her go up there with her entire body. I mean, I suspect that if Nova does allow her up there, it isn't going to be with her core attached to her body.
Well, it's funny about that, though, because, Alita's particularly in a berserker body. Now, granted, at the end of the movie, she's not in the berserker body.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say for a second that Ito puts her back in the berserker body, even though it has a lot of emotional kind of connotations to it. It's difficult for her to deal with, but maybe she decides. Now I'm talking movie. Now I'm not talking manga. Because manga, she doesn't want to be back in it. But if she's in that berserker body, it's going to be tough for anybody to stop her from going up to Zalem.
Yeah.
Well,
here's
able to make it up there. I think in her berserker body.
Well, in her berserker body, even I don't think she's going to get up there. I mean, she is at this point by herself. She has no squad. She has no other advanced weapons than the ones that she had in the initial attack 300 years ago. And she may not have even made it up there then. We don't really know. I mean, apparently something happened to leave her destroyed and in the scrapyard. Mm-hmm. It could be that she ended up running into more defenses of Zalem's that destroyed her previous body and left her a ruin that ended up in the scrapyard below.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah.
But Nova isn't stupid. I don't think he's going to allow her anywhere near him with any kind of weapon.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, though, if she's able to figure out how to get to him. Now, here's my thing. I don't think she's going to, if she does find him, let's say that, she outsmarts him, she gets up there. I don't see her killing him in a sequel, because if they wanted to do a third movie, that'd be the end of it,
Unless
he can't just come back to life.
Yeah.
Well, unless the one that she kills is a clone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So she kills him. She thinks she's won, and then meanwhile, we find out behind the scenes, another Nova is kind of like watching what's been going on.
Yeah. And let's see how she dealt with that. That's kind of what he likes to do.
Oh, here's the thought too. If she is like in the manga, relegating herself to her motorball body because of the emotional baggage and pain associated with the loss of Hugo that is connected to her berserker body, who's to say Nova doesn't manage to send some people in to take her body when she isn't looking? So that the only body she has left is the motorball body.
Yeah. Now, when she kills Zapan, does she, because before she goes to Zalem, certainly there's going to be the Zerker-Pan arc. But when she kills Zapan, was she in the motorball body or the civilian?
She was in her berserker body.
Oh, she was.
Oh, wait, are you talking about the manga or the movie?
Yeah, the
He
manga.
doesn't
The
even
manga.
kill him in the movie.
Oh, the
He
manga.
just cuts his head face off.
Yeah, she was in the body she
Yeah,
had picked up after Motorball.
Okay, so she'd be in the manga. She'd be in the civilian body when she shoots Zapan with
so.
the collapse around.
Yeah,
that's
I think so.
when she's in the. Yeah, that's right. Well, it's going to be interesting to see.
I was thinking when. Yeah, I was thinking you were mentioning when she cut his face off. I was like, wait, that's not the.
No,
that's
not fatal.
I'm getting my movie verse and manga verse switched up.
For the pen, that's not fatal. Because no blood loss.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think with her, for her to if they stick somewhat to the manga, and she gets to Zalem, it's going to be kind of like what they did with that yellow door thing, that room, when they offer her, to where you can either work for us or we're going to kill you.
That could be something that
Nova,
Nova ends up offering her is answers to her previous life. He bribes her with that to find out what happened, who she really is, and what her past is, and offers to help her find that.
Yeah.
If she starts working with him a little bit or something along those lines.
Well, she's dreaming that in that room.
In the manga, yeah.
Yeah, in the manga, she's dreaming it, and she ends up getting the tuned body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then goes into the Badlands arc, I guess.
But I was just kind of wondering, how would she end up working for Nova in the movie verse? And I thinking that maybe it's something
that might be another detail,
a possibility anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what Cameron's got in store for us with that?
Also, who would she be sent after? Just fight the barjack, or would it be, go find the other me? What? Yeah, I'm Nova. Go find the other Nova.
Probably a little
go
bit
get Chaos and tell him he's grounded.
More than likely, it is the barjack, because it is mentioned in the notes that I saw on that one website from Cameron, where she encounters the barjack liberating a village, and they're handing out guns to children like toys. And she has a very strong reaction to that.
She hates that. She doesn't like organized military. Yeah.
Oh, she hates the idea of child soldiers too, very much.
That's right. Yeah.
From her experience.
Yeah, that's the thing. I got the impression she wasn't aware of it because she didn't have the memory, but there is that sort of subconscious reaction to it because she was a child soldier herself.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, I think there's some things that have got to happen before she gets to Zalem, and then while she's there, what is her state? Is she going to be in the Berserker body? Is she going to be kind of like a Lee?
She would have to be disabled in some fashion, because
and they put her in like a Matrix-like or the Ouroboros-like thing where she's still conscious, where she thinks she's in a prison cell or something like that, or in that room. And decides to go ahead and walk through that door because she, it's either that or die. She actually
that's the thing.
Die.
We've already seen in the movie verse that they can easily unplug. Well, with a little bit of work, they can. The modularity of a cyborg's cyber core means that they can be detached from their body with the proper tools and a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So having her in the maintenance bay after she wins the final championship, she ends up being disconnected from her body for maintenance and left as a core through machinations of Nova. And then Nova is able to maybe confront her about the conditions of her arrival on his city.
Yeah. I think, you know what, though, Lee? I think I could see them disconnecting her from her body. But I think in the movie verse, I think they would leave her antimatter and microreactor heart connected to her brain.
Well, that's the thing. All of that is part of the core. So all of her life support systems, everything like that, that's all going to. I can imagine that they would undo that because that would kill her.
Well, exactly. So I could see Nova talking to her. He finally gets her in front of him, and she's nothing but kind of like she was when Ito found her, except she's conscious. Just a head and that little spine-looking thing coming down, with her heart. And
the cyber core appears to be the lungs, or the cybernetic equivalent of the lungs and the heart, as well as part of the spinal cord.
Yeah.
So stripping her down to that would make her a much more manageable threat for Nova to deal with if you wanted to.
She wouldn't be a threat at that point.
Oh, that's the thing. I would not underestimate her even in that.
Alita will find a way to...
Yeah, she will bite you.
Yeah. Well, he'd have to stay away from her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's still got teeth.
Yeah, she can still bite you.
She ain't completely unharmed.
Yeah. But I think, though, she wouldn't be the threat to Nova that she would be, say, that she was in her berserker body.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, if she were clamped into a stand of some sort as just her cyber core and her head.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the head is part of the cyber core, so, the core.
And see, here's what I could see happening, is that if they want to stay somewhat true to the manga, they could have Joshigan go ahead and die like he does in the manga. But they say, okay, Alita came in second place in the Champions League. So
by default, she becomes champion.
So she goes up, but before she does, her core is removed from her motorball body. And instead of putting her in this Matrix-like, Ouroboros-like type thing, where that'd be a lot more they have put in a movie, they could just put her, like you say, in a stand, and you have that scene where Nova's talking to her, and she's nothing but a head and a core. That's all she is. She has no arms. She has nothing. And he says to her, you can either go to work for me and go out to the barjack.
Or I kill you right now.
Or I will kill you right now. And, of course, she says, okay, I'll go and fight for you out
Which could result in her ending up with a telepresence chip, which is how he ends up keeping her under control.
Yeah.
Speaking of telepresence chips, when earlier in the movie it said that, and which was already mentioned in the stream, that there's watchers behind the eyes all over the city. Does that imply there's multiple watchers?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
There are numerous agents of of Zalem.
Does every watcher have the blue eye color, or does the color of the eyes change depending on who?
Yeah, we don't get that. We don't get that feeling, do we? I mean, I know Vector told Shirin.
Well, I went ahead and
behind the eyes all over the city. He said that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I went ahead and made the assumption in my story that it was just an effect of the telepresence chip on a person's optics, whether they're natural or cybernetic.
I found somewhere long ago on Reddit the idea that if there's multiple watchers, then the color the eyes of the possessed person the controlled person is just the brighter version of the eye color of whoever is controlling them.
Could be. They might set it up like that.
I suppose.
Maxie! Good day.
Oh, hey, Maxie.
Okay, hey, Alita Army.
Howdy.
How's it going?
Guess he never had natural blue eyes. I mean, that would have to be the case if him controlling someone would cause glowing blue eyes.
Yeah, Chaos says that Nova has blue eyes. So maybe to Channel's point, if somebody
his eyes were red in the manga, but they're never directly showed. So who am I to argue?
Well, no, that's fine. That's I mean, your assumption's not way off, because if somebody had like brown eyes, and maybe for when they possess the individual that is the watcher behind their eyes, maybe that person who maybe had, say, hazel eyes or green eyes, maybe their eyes turn brown. I mean, I don't see anything wrong.
If they have Betty Davis eyes.
What was that, Jealous?
I mean, Chaos is albino, right?
Chaos is blind. He can't see.
Yeah, but is Chaos albino? Because
I think he is. I'm not sure about
that. The eyes
that.
there, typical albinos look either blue or red depending on the lighting. So here, both.
Well, I think Maxie has read the manga about 14 times. Maxie is Chaos.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with the expert then.
No, I don't know that I'm an expert, because I've probably forgotten
half of
you're asking.
Is Chaos albino?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
he's got lots of problems. But yeah, I've known a few albinos, and their eyes do look red most of the time.
Yeah,
it's just it's kind of like a permanent flash reflection. kind of deal, because they haven't got the pigmentation to block that reflection. So the red color is a reflection of their cornea.
Mm-hmm. Although I think there are mutations of albinos that they won't have red eyes, but I think they're few and far between, I think.
Quite probably. Just before you roll on, I was listening earlier and you were saying something about movie Vector and his eyes turning blue when he's being ridden.
Yeah.
His cyberware was installed as part of him becoming head of the factory. It allows him, it's like an automatic key system that allows him to get into everywhere. It's mentioned in the prequel. The prequel novel.
Oh.
And
I kind of
when that was installed, he was forced to have the telepresence chip installed as well.
Good guess, Lee.
Well, it just seemed to make sense. I mean, how else would you get it into him?
Yeah.
But the question is, who installed it? They never mentioned that.
Oh, there's numerous technicians that could have been used for that.
Well, I would presume that the factory has on hand cyber doctors, because if you go to the prequel novel and read the bit about Hugo's father and how he was forced to have cyberware installed to facilitate him doing his job better, he was just having it installed. Like he'd come home and he had it. So obviously they have cyber docs at the factory who just like chuck stuff in. So while they're chucking stuff in, probably, I'm sure there's not even a contract they sign. They just do it because there's no police, there's no law per se. So the factory just do whatever the hell they want, and they put telepresence chips in while they're giving people cyberware.
And you can't sue them because there's no judicial system. So you're stuck.
That's right.
Yeah.
Shit happens, and you're the one that gets flushed.
And you're the one that gets shitted on. Yeah.
You will do as you're told and like it.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't even care if you like it.
Yeah. We got Jeff out there. Hello, Jeff. How's it going?
Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Yoko Künstler.
Yeah. So anyway, Alita getting into Zalem, of course, that to me would be toward the end of the sequel, because she's got to play motorball and she's got to kill Zerkerpan. So, and to go to the Badlands, she's going to have to be, kind of converted over into the tuned program and all that good stuff. So that would be maybe where she possibly gets up to Zalem, kind of like we were discussing a while ago. Only her head and her core is going to be the only thing that goes to Zalem. So, yeah. Any thoughts about that, guys? Cool. Okay, what about Alita and Jeru? Certainly there's inhabitants up there, so for sure. This is where she's going to meet Aga and Bobby, right? So
well, that's an interesting question about her getting up there, because in the manga, Destiny Nova was a on again, off again ally villain for her. In the movie, he's just a villain. I mean, I don't see the movie version of Destiny Nova giving her a Imaginos body to help her out and send her on her way.
And also, Nova in the manga took Alita with him to Jeru because he wanted an extra bodyguard, and Sex was kind of exploded. So he took Alita, and also because Alita really wanted Lou back, so both as a Nova wanted her as a bodyguard, and she wanted Lou. But in the movie, Alita would not be in a close relationship with a Zalemite, so no Lou to rescue. Possibly a Lou to rescue, but then again, that would have to be another way for that to happen. And Nova wouldn't want Alita probably wouldn't be interested in Alita as a bodyguard, because someone who just spent that much time trying to kill you isn't gonna be a great bodyguard. And also, if Nova's been ruling Zalem for 200 years, then he's probably already been to Jeru, knows what to expect, and wouldn't want and wouldn't feel the need for extra bodyguards.
I was just going to say there could be a version of Nova that's already in control of Jeru. Hell, the Nova that's on Zalem could be the clone of the real Nova who's in control of Jeru.
It could be, yeah. That's a good point.
If Nova's in control of Zalem, then he might just be doing it as working for Embody or working with Embody, that he gets the lower half of the system to control.
Yeah, it's possible too.
Again, he wouldn't need Alita to protect to Alita's protection.
Maybe Jeru is like a Nova version of Agent Smith from the last Matrix movie. Everybody is Nova.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway,
or maybe Nova on Zalem are really, they're like, I wouldn't call them clones, but they would be more like subservient to Aga Embody. Do you think Aga Embody would be in Jeru in say Alita 3 or 4?
Oh, that's the thing. It's hard to say. I mean, there's no telling what kind of direction. I mean, that's the problem with a lot of this, is like we don't really know what direction Cameron's going to take it.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to theorize, but we're kind of flying in the dark here with that.
Yeah.
People have sort of looked at the character of Nova in the movie and said that there's a lot of traits of Aga Embody in Nova.
Uh-huh.
I remember that. That was actually mentioned on one of the previous streams too. I think you and somebody else were talking about that.
And perhaps it's a culmination of the two characters. So
yeah,
rather than having Aga Embody running around doing things in Jeru, maybe it's all Nova.
That'd be a shame.
And then
it would.
And then they wouldn't have to introduce a new character either. So
yeah. Because that could end up being a problem. All the characters in the manga, you try to introduce them into the movie, which has a much tighter time frame they've got to fit everything into. That can just overload the population of the character list.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Channel. It's a shame if they don't have an Aga Embody in there, because I want to see Alita bitch slap him.
I'm fine with them fusing some characters, but Embody and Nova should stay two separate beings.
Well, maybe they'll do that. Hopefully they will.
They will get fused with other characters on their own separately, but there should be Nova and Embody as two separate characters, even if some of their choice will be mixed up.
I certainly wouldn't have a problem with that myself, having Embody as the leader on Jeru, or whatever they end up calling Jeru in the movie.
I don't see why they wouldn't call it Jeru.
Well, they didn't call Tefari's, or they didn't call Zalem Tefari's.
That's true. Well,
Jeru
is Catheri's in the manga, so.
Actually, is it called Jeru in the movieverse?
I don't think
Zalem is called Zalem, so it would be
the...
weird if they call it Zalem and Catheris.
Yeah,
it's going to be Jeru for sure. Because then you get the Jerusalem space elevator. So
yeah, that's right. Nice little play on words.
not sure why, because it's in the Central Americas.
Yeah.
And the one that's in the Indian Ocean is called what? That was also a double name, but I don't remember.
Zig and Urat.
Ziggurat.
Yeah.
What was at the bottom of that? Because you got Zalem at the bottom of Jeru. What was at the bottom of Zig and Jerat? What was that?
No, Ziggurat is the combined name. It was like Zig and Gurat or something like that.
Urat is at the bottom and Zig is at the top.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
So you've got
Jeru, I see, like Jeru, Zalem,
and
Jerusalem.
Zig,
okay, I see what you're getting at now. Took me a bit.
Yeah. So is Zerat or whatever it's called? Is that like a floating city or something?
Yeah, it floats on. Well, until a certain point in the manga, it floats on the surface of the Indian Ocean.
Ah.
And then it gets pulled up out of the Indian Ocean when
and then slammed back down again, I think.
Well, no, it didn't get slammed back down because the whole orbital ring shifted when the onion frame was ejected. So Zalem went down and Urat went up.
Okay.
Well, it seems like to me, well, in the
So now
movie
the
verse,
whole
there
ring
were
is-
12. There were 12 cities. There were 12 Zalem-like cities.
Yeah,
right?
I
Do
thought
they all
that
have
was
fun names? Do they all have names that are just two halves of a word?
Who knows? They never mentioned them.
Yeah, that's right.
Also,
It says,
when you're
"Oh, but there was once 12 of these things," and we're like, that was a throwaway line, and I thought it was ridiculous because the amount of capacity you need to build one of these things is enormous. It's hundreds of thousands of miles long, and a massive tube. Building 12 of them is like, why? Why would you? It'd be cheaper to move stuff across the surface of the planet. And
unless
have, like, 2 or 4 tops.
Fly them in
did
orbit
they
from place to
specify
place.
they were all 12 on Earth? Because if it was 12 in total on the solar system and like say 3 per planet, then that's less stupid.
Yes, it is indeed. But I don't see how you could put them on gas giants. But anyway,
not exactly, but that's not on every planet.
Yes, Mr. Scientist says no.
Also, when you're trying to name 12 of them, either you're going to look for a lot of mythologies and religions, or you're gonna eventually go stupid with the names, and just one of them will be a pun.
I remember seeing the movie the first time and Hugo saying there were 12 cities. I went, holy shit, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Did you say that?
There were.
I never read the manga at that point, but I thought, holy crap, that's a lot.
Did you say that? I thought it was just in the book.
Yeah, but I hadn't read the manga when I watched the movie.
Yeah, no. I thought it was just in the prequel and novelization. Did he actually say that in the movie? I don't remember him saying that in the movie.
Yeah, they did.
It was in the special features, the fall.
Ah, okay.
12 cities, only 1 left.
Yeah, and Hugo did.
Hugo did mention it. Yeah, and when you're getting these sorts of backstory monologues from a kid who hasn't had any schooling, it's all hearsay. I mean, it could be all made up. So I take it with a grain of salt, except that if I can't remember off the top of my head, but if it was in the extras, then it's canon for the movie, which is like, duh.
Well, it could be that when Alita gets to Zalem, she finds out that what Hugo was telling her about 12 cities was wrong. There was only 2 or something like that.
No, sir, we had plans.
I think
but that was for budget reasons.
They'll go over.
Also, we made do for budget reasons. We needed a bigger funding, so we said we were gonna make 12 cities, but actually we only had funding for 3, but we made 2 because that's the pretty number. We just wanted the money for 12 so we could embezzle some and then still have enough for construction.
Hey, look, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Nova just wanted more funding for his experiments, so he said, "I'll build to 12," and then he only got 2.
2 is enough. Oh no, we're not getting back that money. We spend it on something.
Yeah, snacks.
Yeah, Jeff said the assault force to take out 11 of those things would be huge. Well, from what I garnered from this is that when the URM did attack Earth, it was a huge assault force. Right?
On setting up a lab on Pluto, that's where the funding went.
Yeah.
I find it somewhat ridiculous that you need 12. I mean,
I don't think
you
so.
You don't need 12.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a huge undertaking that it. I mean, it's so like a worldwide undertaking. You need resources from far and wide.
Well, they could do it by mining asteroids, I guess. But
asteroids, moons, what have you.
Right.
But so it'd take a lot, though. A whole lot.
If you remember back to the live stream we did on Radio Chaos for the space elevator, I read that novel. Was it a Philip K. Dick novel? It was one of those guys who's like the premier sci-fi writers. I have to go back and have another. It was a good novel. It was a little bit dry, but stuff from back in the 60s, sci-fi was a little bit dry. But what they did was that they built it in space and just dropped it down, sort of like a production line. They'd had a space station which was producing the rings and just adding them and letting them drop.
Mm-hmm.
And they were producing it going the other way and letting it go up, so they were counterbalancing it as they built it.
They'd have to have a hell of a bunch of spacecraft, though, to guide that thing into the right position to hook it up.
Well, no, what it was like you had a space factory producing ring components in both directions at once, so it would counterbalance.
So it was already set up in a geosynchronous orbit.
Oh, so you're saying Oh, I see. So you're saying...
And they just built up and built down until the built down connected to the ground, and then they hooked it up, and Bob's your uncle.
Oh.
But it had to be on the equator.
Which Bob? Bob 1 or Bob 2?
I'm trying to think of a famous Bob, but no one's coming.
Nothing's
Bob
coming.
Ross?
Bob Iger. There you go.
Well,
Bob
off for us Aussies, we've got Bob Irwin.
You got SpongeBob.
Robert Lewandowski.
Oh, SpongeBob.
So there's a name for one of the space elevators. You could have SpongeBob at the bottom and SquarePants at the top.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That would work.
And you could have Yukito at the top and Kishiro at the bottom.
Yeah.
Kishiro, the floating city.
Unfortunately, I have to head off, so...
All right, Lee. Well, we're glad you joined us, bud.
Oh, me too. It was nice talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Look after that cough. It was coffee?
Yeah.
It was probably me coughing. Yeah, I've had this cough for like 20 years now.
What?
Yeah, I've had it for 20 years. It's an allergy.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys have fun.
Right.
Take care.
All right, we'll see you.
Right.
Well, Jeff says there was a small group of Künstlers. Yeah, I think there was a small group going up that supply tube, but I think overall
it wasn't multiple though.
Say again.
It's just that space elevator with Zalem.
Oh, no,
just the space elevator.
Yeah, but what I was saying is what Jeff was saying a while ago, that you needed a large assault force. When the attacked Earth, that was a large assault force. I mean,
but the reasoning for the attack is completely different in the manga than it was in the backstory for the movie, because in the manga it was Operation Malwolf, and it was to get rid of the colony ships, because the engines on the colony ships were considered WMDs. If you point the engine of a colony ship at a planet, you could fry the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that's why they were afraid of them.
Well, they would have a good reason to be.
So Alita's insertion team was sent in there to break into the control systems for Melchizedek. I hate that name. and basically,
just say Arthur.
Well, yeah, not everybody knows what Arthur is. But basically, they had to hack Melchizedek and basically program the colony ships to crash into planets and burn up. Like they were just getting rid of them. And the only one that didn't actually get destroyed was the first one, and that it became a space station when the whole project was ditched.
I'm probably a very immature human for thinking this, but whenever I hear Melchizedek, I immediately mishear it. My brain somehow turns into Melchizedek, because Zadek in Polish is a word for butt. And that's that's the first thing I always think whenever I hear Melchizedek.
But okay.
The problem with translations and languages goes on and on and on. There was a four-wheel drive model introduced in Australia in the 90s, I think it was, called the Holden Pajero. and which is very similar to the Spanish word pajero, which is wanker. So golden wanker.
Let's go buy one of those.
Yeah.
And for the post translation, it was good that they changed in the movie the name to Dyson, because that really just a last name. Dajsuka in Polish. Give, dai means give, and suka means bitch. So Dajsuka, if they left it, would basically mean give me that bitch.
Yeah.
Doctor, give me that bitch.
Wow.
Yeah.
You gotta love translations, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, it also means that in Romanian. It sounds that way in Romanian too.
Well, I think in terms of Alita being in Jeru, if she gets that far in the movie, that is, the next logical progression will be her fighting in the Zot, and that's going to be a way out, isn't it? That's going to be probably, if they have a sixth movie, they might do it. You know.
Yeah, and Erica appears in the spin-off series.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that would be a more logical place for it, I think. But one of the things about Alita going up to Zalem and Jeru, which she would be aware of at that point, kind of like a societal hierarchy. You know, kind of like, in a way, what Gorwishko told her in the underworld. There's, you know, the trash from worlds upon worlds upon worlds, and it all ends up here. You know, that maybe that'd be a realization for, that's what he was talking about that. Oh, somebody's grandfather clock is going off. Nice.
Ringing the half hour?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's only one ring. So, was that yours? Yeah. That was yours.
Yes, because it's for full hours. It rings the number of times which is the hour, but for half hours it's always one ring.
Yeah.
Does it do that all through the night?
Unfortunately, yes. It's not that loud, actually. I'm just sitting directly under it.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. I mean, man, I've been in hospital where they wake you up every hour to check on you, like to do your temperature and various other things.
It's not in anyone's bedroom, so I'm just
they wait.
Under it.
I'm a very light sleeper, so that would not be good for me.
Well, Maxie did at the hospital. They'd wake you up every so often to give you a sleeping pill. Huh?
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Alita says no. Slap.
Yeah, that's right. And across the room, you'd fly. Yeah.
Well, she only smacks you. She kind of likes you. It gets worse from there.
Yeah.
Well, it depends how much she likes you. She smacks you less hard the more she likes you.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just saying she'll kick you if she doesn't like you.
Yeah. Well,
and if she really doesn't like you, she will kill you, but only after she comes up with a line that she believes is cool.
Yeah.
Have you been born only for me to kill you? Or something like that.
Yes. Although I would say Alita is compassionate. I would think if she mistook you for a threat and you were able to convince her that you weren't a threat, she probably wouldn't kill you. Now, she might slap you pretty good, you know, but I don't think she'd kill you, because I think she does I think basically she is good, you know, I think. So.
Unless she's pissed off.
Yeah, if you piss her off, all bets are off. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
She'll rip your arm off and beat you with a
wet end. That's right. So.
And don't piss me off.
That's right. Well, she told Hugo that, right? I like the look on his face too. It's like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. And that makes me wonder why the hell he didn't just go, I'll sort things out with my wrecking crew later. I have to go and support my missus. He really should have just thought a little harder. It's like, why am I picking now? I've had weeks to do this. Why am I doing it right
it's
now?
It's like in the Zato. There's 3 months and next to nothing happens. Then everybody, that all those almost immortal beings just get out the bucket list and decide to do everything they ever wanted to do in this specific 1 week. I mean, that is kind of realistic. There's a lot of people put things off for years and then they all decide to get this done right now.
Oh, we lost Chaos. Yeah.
No, we never lose Chaos. It's always with us.
Yeah, it's probably it's probably his internet probably. So anyway, I think we kind of talked this one out. Has anybody got any other thoughts about in the upcoming movies? We're not limiting this to a sequel.
I had a funny thought that Nova's in the manga, Nova's reaction to finding out he can go to Jeru was about the same as you'd expect Yugo's reaction would be to being allowed back into Zalem.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same level of of enthusiasm with no idea what's actually going on, just a level higher.
Well, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, Hugo was clueless. So until the very end. So.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you should try it sometime.
Jak pięknie być debilem.
Yeah.
Well, no one here can be that clueless because clearly we all like Alita, so
yeah,
we've got some semblance of sanity around here.
Yeah, I think so. So is anything? Can you guys think of anything about in the up? Oh, go ahead, Angela.
The figure between 3 and 5.
Figure 4, yeah. What about it?
See him in the sequel. Well, the second.
Yeah, well, I think. Well, Alita, if she gets to Zalem, that's going to be kind of a, I think to me that would be just before the Badlands arc, which I think if they introduce the Badlands arc in the sequel, it's going to be at the very, very end, and Alita somehow getting to Zalem is just a core in her head, because she's not one final champion, but maybe Joshigon's dead. So they say, okay, Alita came in second, a very close second, so we'll bring her up. And it's kind of like Lee was saying a while ago, while she's being switched from one body to the other, they come down and get the body and grab her and go up, And then her and, Nova has her in front of him, and she has no arms or legs, so she can't do anything. And he says, you either work for me and go out into the Badlands and take care of the barjack and stuff like that, and I'll let you figure out about your past, or I will kill you. So that would be her choice, I think. And at that point, I think she would meet Figure 4 in the third movie. It would be my thought.
Another thing she needs to see in Zalem, or we need to see in Zalem, is Flan.
Yeah. Yes.
It's what?
So
Sorry,
we want
Flan.
Flan.
Oh yes, there has to be Flan.
Yes.
It's not Nova without Flan.
Yeah.
Well, creme brulee, whatever you want.
Well,
bloody
Supernova didn't need any Flan on screen, on panel. Sorry.
I don't think Supernova gave a shit about Flan, did he? I think he's just crazy as hell or whatever. Mean, evil. He was evil as hell. There you go.
He gave more shit about giant alien dicks.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
So I think Alita would find Nova, but I don't think she's going to be in a position to do anything to him, is my opinion. I think that's the way it would work. Unless she figured out a way to get up there in her berserker body, if she had the berserker body, because Nova's not going to let her up there, but she figures out a way to get there, then it would be a different ball game, I think, in that case. Any thought about that, say, Maxie Chandler Angelus?
Oh, I'm just...
You're looking at the uwu. I know you.
Yeah, I can't help it.
Blinded by the uwu.
That's right.
Uwu is all consuming.
Yes.
I was distracted for a moment. What was the question?
Well, I mean, her getting up to Zalem, what would be the circumstances? What do you guys think? Will she get to Zalem in the second movie, or what? What's y'all's thoughts?
My feeling is that Nova's going to cheat her out of winning the Zot. Not the Zot, sorry, the
Motorball second
Motorball championship.
Yeah.
Either if they go down the line of see the competition in the manga wasn't for a trip to Zalem. It was just who was the best.
Yeah, that's right.
And also probably cash.
Well, I mean, they get paid for a win, but Jashigan died winning that, right? Mm-hmm. So, there could be an argument about, well, the victor is the one who's still alive, not the one who took the most damage, because one's dead and one isn't. Mm-hmm. So, therefore, Alita should win, but the Nova could go, well, no, this other guy, he won because he put the other person down. So I'm going to take his brain up to Zalem. I'm going to take his bits. And Alita might get cheated out of getting up there. But then, of course, the only way to get up there is in pieces anyway. So that wouldn't really help her all that much. So she may then have to find another way to do it. And that changes sort of the direction. But in the meantime, we get Zerkapan.
An absurd technicality, like technically Jashigan's brain death occurred right after the timer for the game ran out. So he didn't die during the games, ergo he's still the winner.
Well, you're not clinic. They can revive you after, as long as they can do it within like 11 minutes, I think, Maxie, if I'm not correct.
Well, it all depends on what condition your brain's in, of course, and his brain was falling to pieces.
Yeah.
So
it already was.
He had brain cancer, didn't he?
No, he had
severe brain injury that Nova reconstructed, but the reconstruction wasn't it wasn't permanent, so it was kind of just falling back apart.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Channel is exactly
you just turn on.
That's why Channel's going to be a contestant tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you for moving it.
Yeah.
That's all right. It took me forever to get everybody lined up. I'm amazed that I did.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I had dinner with Kran and Rido last night. We had a lot of fun. And I bought
to see their rabbits.
Or was no, actually, we met at our favorite microbrewery, and I bought the. I guess it's not the Prime One Studio, the 1/4 scale Alita. What is that one? What the heck is the name of that thing? Now I can't remember. But anyway, I bought it from Kran, so she was going to. Yeah, so now I got a bigger Alita. So yeah,
can never have enough Alita.
That's right.
I'm amazed.
Unfortunately,
they just didn't have space, huh?
Yeah, they want to get that Prime One, I guess. Alita, I guess, is the one they were after.
You mean the Badlands Alita?
Yeah, that's right. I think so. We talked about several different statues of Alita, but she didn't have room for it, and she really hated giving it up. But she decided to sell it to me. So
to a good home,
I guess. Yeah, to a good.
Is it going into the Denver branch or the Kansas bar?
Well, I'm going to have to leave it here because I flew here and took a rental car and flew here, and I can't pack it and get it on the plane. So, but I'm coming back. I'm coming back in September, early September, and I'll probably I'll drive and
make some space for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I can put it in the back of the car. So.
I just got a horrible merchandise idea. A figurine of Gerwishka, like an action figure, but with functioning grind cutters, sold in the kids aisle.
I was thinking more, like you could have an Alita doll with the sword, and you could have a Garishka doll that splits in half.
Like the doll would be with detachable limbs, like the part of a not very realistic, but like realistic enough for an action figure, removable core, and fully functional the meat grinders. What was that thing called? Grind cutters, and with fully functional grind cutters that can be used, that are dishwasher safe, so you can use them in the kitchen and then hand them back to little Jamie so he can continue playing.
That sounds a lot like that movie. What was it called? Toy Soldiers or something like that, where they had the little bitty figurines of soldiers that were animated, or not animated, but sentient.
And there would just be a button somewhere hidden on the arm that when you press it, the grind cutters just shoot out.
God, that would be cool, though, wouldn't it?
I don't think it would pass the safety requirements.
Yeah, I
it
think
probably wouldn't. That's why it's a horrible idea, but it wouldn't.
Yeah, I think the regulatory agency would jump on that one. So I don't think, I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, Maxie, it's that one that has the lights around the base.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of the damn thing now, but it's like 2 feet tall. This Alita is, I think, something like that. So
I think it's Prime 1 Alita statue.
Oh, okay. Maybe it is Prime 1 then.
It certainly wasn't Queen Studios.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Queen. That's right. So, yeah, I was happy to buy it from her. I mean, I had to think about it because I mean, here I am. I'm in North Carolina. How am I going to get that sucker back? But I said, no, I got to have it. So I bought it. So. Well, what about getting back to the subject? What about Alita and Jeru? That certainly is not going to happen in the sequel. That's for sure. If it happens at all, it'll be the 4th movie, even, wouldn't it, or something like that?
Alita in space.
Yeah.
The musical.
Yeah. An Alita musical. Holy mackerel! What would that be? I think
Cameron would let that happen.
No.
It would be a rock opera.
It'd be a bit much to ask for the Zot there too. The Zot would probably be 6th movie or something. The Creek
Zot would work better as a series than a movie because
I think so.
It's too much to cram into a movie, but it would work well as a series, like 1 battle per episode. And then things that aren't battle would either be inside of the episodes, or like every 2 episodes there would be something that's not long backstories and punching each other. So it's
you'd want a little slice of life type stuff.
Yeah, sometimes episodes would just a few episodes that are just slice of life or that slice of life elements between. So that would be a great series, but a horrible movie.
Yeah. I think if they did a series of Alita competing in the 2nd league, because at the end of the movie, it's been several months, and since she lost Hugo, when she points the Damascus blade up at Zalem, so I think that'd be another one. It'd be great for a series, even an animated series. I think that would be great for that one.
The Zot would probably be also good as a series, like an anime, because again, if they tried to make it live action, the amount of weird CGI they'd have to do for this is just... Because in Iron City, at least all the CGI they used was cyborgs and engineering, but in Zot they'd end up having to make...
Maybe AI will progress to the point where it will not be that...
I'm just scared it might end up looking like Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, I like Love and Thunder, but I could see why it didn't do as well.
There's the little Jane's helmet looks like an Instagram filter. It doesn't even line up with her face.
Yeah, that's right.
I haven't rewatched the movie since I saw it in theaters, and I still remember how badly it made it align with her face. If only I remember school books this well.
Yes. Same here. Of course, it's been a few years since I've been in school, so there you have it.
Years? Decades?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. That's not that long ago. 86 when I graduated from graduate school. So
I literally graduated this year.
Oh, congratulations there, Channel.
Yeah, the reason I asked... What?
What is your degree?
From high school.
Oh, from high school. Okay.
From high school.
Cool. Are you going to? Well, we're way off topic, but that's okay. Are you going to go to? You going to go to college or university?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm going to. The reason I asked for the stream to be moved was because I had my final exam, and I didn't, and I wanted to be able to study instead of staying up night at an Alita. I wanted to be an Alita, but I really didn't want to fail miserably.
Yeah.
And I made myself a challenge that in the literacy test, so in Polish exams, I will somehow reference Alita, and I did in the oral part.
Nice.
And I got 100%.
Oh, cool! Very cool. That's what I call Maxie and Angelus a good Alita Army member right there.
Well, as I was saying, it took me so long to get everybody lined up. So
yeah,
thank you.
I mean, we wanted Kran there because she's the defending champion, and just getting like she's a busy girl. Put it that way.
Yeah, she is. Okay, well, I think we've talked these two things out. I guess Alita and Zalem and Alita and Jeru. I think we kind of hit that pretty good. I think. Unless anybody's got any last thoughts about those two.
Are there gonna be cannibals in Jeru? Like the
I don't know if they would put that in a Disney movie or not.
I mean, Star Wars is technically a Disney movie now.
That's true.
The Queen Alien is a Disney princess.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well,
there's the war in the
she got
House.
promoted to queen.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh man, that's a hell of a Disney princess right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we can move on then.
It's lucky the Predator isn't female.
Imagine if Kagura was a Disney princess.
Oh, I like that last Predator movie. That the one with the, of course, because they had American Indians in it. That's why I liked it probably so much. But it was pretty good, I thought. You know. Okay, did we miss anything, you guys?
No, but I think today's conversation was very good prequel to the trivia for tomorrow, because there's so many little trivial details we brought up here.
Ah, cool. Well, I was not privy to any of the questions, so it's just dumb luck on my part. So, you know.
Who's preparing the questions?
Well, in a way, it's like
half the panel here.
Even more. It's opened up even more questions.
It sure has.
So I guess we didn't miss too much, and as you can see from that center panel, Alita loves Uncle Creek. That's for sure, you know. And if you have a problem with that, you're going to have to deal with that plasma weapon right there.
You have to take it up with her.
Yeah, that's right. This is our queen, of course. Angelus, you've got this picture already, right? I mean, am I going to have to send you this picture too? Sometimes Angelus says, can you send me that picture? So anyway, so there's our queen right there. You know, this is in the Creek's book, she's #1, Jack. She's a great actor. She really brought Alita to life. God, look at that. She looks kind of like Alita right there too, doesn't she? You know, in a lot of ways.
Well, duh.
Yeah, because she is Alita.
She wouldn't be. If she didn't, she wouldn't cast to play Alita. That's
right. And of course, Creek's other two celebrity crushes, Elle Lamont and Jesse Fisher, are also in. We want them to come back in the sequel as Screwhead, obviously. And we've talked about that on that one stream when we interviewed Elle. That you know, that maybe it's very possible that Screwhead could come back. I mean, depending on what Cameron wants to do, of course. But you know, her looked like her core and her head were still intact. So I mean, you know, hey, you know, if that one guy on the motorball track can talk with just a head, then Screwhead can still come back, I think. So
oh yeah, for sure.
So
if they wanted to write it back in, they would have no problem.
I think so. You know?
Stinger, on the other hand, nah.
Yeah, Stinger and definitely Kramaza and Kanuba. Those guys would have a problem getting back in, you know. But yeah, and all three of these ladies brought their characters to life pretty good. And of course, as the Creek says every week, it sure don't hurt that they're pretty. So And Max or Angelus, you guys want to talk about this?
Sorry, I got a mouthful. 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my mic was muted accidentally. The answer would be uwu.
See?
Yeah, that's right. And I bet this is one. That's one of the answers that probably Angelus came up with too. D would be at the uwu. So anyway, join
It's
us.
so much more than uwu.
Yeah, I know, but you got to admit, Alita's got uwu. There's no doubt about that.
It's a trick question. It's
Yeah, it
E,
is.
all of the above.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, she's definitely fierce, indomitable, and dangerous. She's definitely that too. So yeah, you're right. This is a. Where's the E option on there? I don't see an E option.
Yeah,
so,
it needs one. I'd put one on.
Yeah.
But anyway,
a cat.
So we won't actually
The
have
robot cat.
we won't actually have graphics for the questions. I mean, this looks cute. It's very Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but we don't have $1 million to give away, so we won't be going that hardcore on the visuals. But yeah. So the idea is that everybody who's participating will need to be on the panel. They don't give their answers verbally. They need to type them into a PM to me, and I will be grading them on the fly.
PM, that's private chat?
Yeah, so seeing as we have a Discord PM channel, then you just send the answers through to me on that. The other guys will probably use DMs from Twitter. But basically, the question will be asked. You'll have a minute to answer it. There'll be mostly multiple choice. So you could have a guess if you don't know and still be in the running. But there will be sections for the manga, the movie, the novels, the OVA, and just a general stuff about Alita, sort of, or the people who are behind Alita section. So there'll be lots of different areas where, if you don't know much about one of them, you could do better in another section.
Oh, cool.
I don't know whether Kran knew all the answers, or she just had a vague idea and guessed right. But she was certainly the champ last time around. So we'll see how we go this time around. And I have to check with my prize supplier about the prizes. But there are some prizes, Alita related prizes. So I'll have to check with him. I've just realized that I haven't done that yet. So organized not, but that's Radio Chaos for you.
Yes.
In fact, Angelus and I probably should get together after this and finalize the questions.
Yeah.
If he's got the time.
Well, it is Saturday there, so.
It is, but, I'm married, so my life is not my own.
Yeah. Yeah, I know how it is when you're married, guys. I know how that is.
You've been around that block twice, haven't you?
A couple of times, yeah. Yeah, for sure, Okay, so anyway, join us on Radio Chaos tomorrow. Now, Maxie, I'm not going to be there tomorrow. I'm going
Creaky.
to my...
How could you?
Well, my youngest stepson's having a baby shower, so, he and his wife, so I'm going to drive over to Greensboro, North Carolina, which is roughly 150 miles or so from here, I think, and just go to their baby shower and do that stuff, so I wish I could.
You want to be a grandpa?
Girl, I'm already a grandpa. I don't need another one to be a grandpa. Yeah. I got
Cricky's our youth vote. He's in his 70s. So.
Yeah, I'm a 70-year-old national champion power lifter. So yeah.
unless you believe Den, in which case Creaky's actually 8,000 years old.
That's right.
And
Den or Ox King, whatever you want to call him these days.
Oh yeah.
The last 300, whatever. So
Guy's got more names than I've had hot dinners.
Exactly. He's got more names than I've had wives. So, so anyway, it is what it is, I guess. So anyway, join us on Radio Chaos tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Are you going to do something for the folks in the chat, Maxie and Angelus? Maybe.
Well, I mean, we'll be once the answers are in and I've got their answers recorded, then we will go through probably while I'm collating. I'll get Angelus to go through the question bank and give out the right answers, so the people playing at home will be able to see how well they did. You know, one of them might go, "Hey, I got bingo," or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I compete in the next one.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to hang around, if you've got time afterwards, and hang around and help us come up with some questions.
I might do. I could do that, I think.
If Angelus is available, I don't even know if he is.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, you know what the hardest part about a baby shower is?
What's that?
Grinding the baby fine enough to get it through the shower head.
Oh my God. Well, I'll tell you about this. Is, you know, here I am I'm in my 70s. I've never been to a baby shower ever.
Really?
Yeah. So I didn't know what to get. So you know what I got? A gift card.
Sounds fair. Look, probably better than getting them the 17th, you know, like change table or whatever it happens.
Whatever it is, yeah, whatever.
Or getting clothes and turns out that they don't fit at all because like the baby turns out really big or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, look, gift cards work because there's a lot of spending around having kids.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna give them a pretty good little sum too, I think. But you know, also, you know, what's cool about this baby shower is they're giving him kind of a Native American name, sort of, you know, and his name's going to be Oak, you know, like the tree.
We have a brand of milk down here called Oaks, so that was sort of the first thing I thought of.
Cool. Well, my brother said, you know, well, they ought to have his middle name Tree, you know.
Terrific. Now I feel like chocolate ice cream and chocolate milk.
Yeah. Cool.
Chocolate milk is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Angelus, did you notice that they've had I don't know if you go to Coles very often, but they have a pine lime splice flavored milk.
Yep.
What the hell?
Pine lime splice is a classic sort of icy pole, ice block kind of iced treat that we have down here in Australia, and it's pineapple and lime. And I thought that it would, you know, go well with Angelus's pineapple addiction. So,
yeah, put pineapple on pizza and eat and drink that pine lime, whatever that is.
Rice.
Milk. Yeah. Oh, rice milk.
And it tastes like it too, because I tried it.
I have no idea what that would taste like.
Look, I got nothing against pineapple as a sweet treat, but on a pizza, it just doesn't work for me. That's all.
See, now I want to get a pineapple pizza.
Reverse psychology at work.
Can we agree to disagree, Angelus?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, guys, join us for the Alita Trivial contest between, I guess it's going to be our defending champion, KranberriJam. Channel Does Not Exist is going to be on there. Who are the other two contestants?
Poland. So we have KranberriJam, defending champion, representing the US. We have Channel Does Not Exist, representing the EU. We have Luke from Melbourne, representing Aussieland.
Okay.
And who was the other person? There's a fourth person who's competing, and my brain has just gone blank. I'm going to do the smart thing and look up the documentation.
Yeah, that might work.
It could. You write things down for a reason, and the reason is
right.
my memory.
Well, we never write things down for this stream right here, except for the PowerPoint. That's the only thing we write down.
See, the reason why I'm the guy behind the trivia competition is because I'm so goddamn trivial. I can tell you all sorts of trivial things about Alita. Do you think I can remember who's going to be coming on?
You would think.
You would think, but no. Matthau.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
So we've got two people representing the EU. It's France versus Poland.
Yeah.
Oh.
Better
so Western and Eastern.
Yep.
Yeah, better have a couple of questions about Zex in there then.
The Western Division and the Eastern Division, yeah. But you know, the problem is that I probably get corrected.
Wait, there's 5 people on the game contestants list.
It should be a lot of fun, though, I think.
Yeah, I don't think Vladdy could make it. Every time I ask him, he's kind of like, nah. So I wasn't going to push him.
Yeah.
He works a lot of Saturday nights, so.
Yeah, he does.
But well, yeah, so it's a worldwide competition.
Yeah. Cool.
Shall be interesting.
A true world championship.
Yeah.
That's right.
In Alita trivia.
Yeah.
One of the more important things.
That's right. That's right.
Oh dear.
I'd trade my national championship in for bench press to be the Alita world champion.
Really?
Yeah. Well, maybe not.
How much effort you put into that?
Yeah. All right. So anyway, join us for that one. And I guess moving right along here, why is this image here? Well, that image is there because the Creek likes it and he's running the stream. And to paraphrase Gruwishka, I'm only here for our girl. And the Alita Army. And of course, all of us in the Alita Army are only here for our girl, as we know. So
some of us are also for other characters.
Nah, it's Alita. Alita's got the uwu, right, Angelus?
Amen.
Well, so does Shamira. I guess she's got some pretty good uwu going there, too.
Random fan service uwu.
Yeah, that's right. Well, even Shirin has uwu, so there you go. So we can't help it,
Koyomi has that childish bratty uwu. That's a different kind of uwu, but it's not any worse.
Now, Screwhead also has uwu, but it's kind of a scary uwu.
I don't feel any uwu coming from her. Chaos has more uwu.
Yeah, it's a scary type of thing. So, being Iron City's most lethal bounty hunter, I mean, that's why it's scary, probably. So
I don't know that she still has that title.
Well, until she gets put back together, which we hope that happens in the sequel. So, All right. I guess any last thoughts, Angelus?
Not for me. Can't wait for tomorrow.
He wants pineapple pizza and pine lime spliced milk
and ice cream.
And a sequel.
He ain't the only one. Channel, any last words?
Not really.
Okay, Maxie, how about
you?
My
exams are over, Channel. Is that
Yeah, they're finally over.
Yes, cool. Well, that could be some last words, like yay, they're over.
Yay! Yeah,
also, from a previous stream where it was mentioned the idea of a Mars Chronicles anime, but like somewhat toned down for children. Now I can stop thinking about that, and we need that.
That thing is insane.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, that's why it's one of those things where you'd question how the hell did anyone allow this to air? But it's technically not showing any things it's not allowed to show. So come sit down. It's 8 years. It's up 8. It's from ages 8 and up. It's for ages 8 and up.
Cool. What I want to know is for such a quiet sort of reserved gentleman, Yukito Kishiro's brain's got some weird shit going on in it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the characters he draws too, they look weird. Some of them do too.
I mean, Alita's origins in the manga is completely weird shit. So
Yeah. That and then the octopus body, that's pretty fucking weird too.
Never actually happened though. It was only suggested.
Yeah, I know.
It was only a single draft. It just stuck in our memories.
It may have actually happened in Ouroboros, but what happens in Ouroboros stays in Ouroboros.
She wasn't even put in it. It was just a draft that never pulled out of somewhere.
Well, be that as it may.
Even the Ouroboros rejected.
Well, be that as it may, there's a lot rattling around up there in Kishiro's mind when it comes to writing this Alita content, doesn't it?
Well, Kishiro says that all the characters in his manga are parts of him.
Oh my God.
So yeah, exactly.
Like that weird quote that I don't create that looks like a 14-year-old explaining their OCs. I don't create characters. I cut myself into pieces and give them names.
Oh
That's right.
Lord. Oh,
That's exactly it.
that sounds like Kashiru.
Mm. But he's such a quiet and demure sort of
Yeah.
guy on the surface.
Really? Really?
Underneath is bubbling with madness.
Well, you know what they say down south here in the South U.S.? They say still water runs deep.
Yeah, exactly. It's always well, what they say down here is it's always the quiet ones.
Yeah.
You got to watch
Is there
out
a
for.
place somewhere in the US called Stillwater?
Yeah, Stillwater, Oklahoma. Yep.
Yay. I
Yeah.
know geography.
Yeah, you did. Yes. Well, actually, you asked the question, Angelus. I answered it. So.
Oh, I got
Okay.
it off a TV show, but yeah.
Oh,
So-
I
we
see.
digress.
So, Era, Channel, you need to do some more study. I'm sorry, but you practiced at it, so you should do reasonably well. You need to study up on Alita for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm in this finals. You pick which extra subject you have to pass, and I have made this a rule for myself. If I win this championship, I will tell people when they ask me what I passed in Matura. I will tell that I passed Alita as a subject.
Nice. Nice. Yes. Yeah, you know what? We ought to come up with.
Biology and Alita.
We should come up with
Nice.
some Alita Army degree-looking plaque or something. You know?
Yes. Certificate in Alita Studies.
Yeah, that's right. That'd be
I
cool.
swear, yeah, I really hope that the Institute of Technology accepts that. Well, you see, here's my certificate in language, and here's my certificate in Alita.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be Mastermind so much as it would be Uwu Master.
Well, that would be Angelus's thing.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, guys. We're wearing this out.
Oh yeah, but it's amusing the hell out of me. You can
Oh
probably
hell
tell.
yeah, it is. It's funny.
Looking forward to tomorrow, guys.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to watch it certainly after I get back home. Okay, so
I just hope the internet doesn't break.
Yeah, that would suck.
yeah, it would.
I mean, the last one we had people dropping in and out because they had stuff going on, so that kind of stopped Den from being more than competitive in one section. But yeah, Cranberry had the time and she was there and she answered the most questions correctly and she won. So I mean, that's all you got to do.
Cool. All right, well, that brings us to our call to action. Unless anybody wants to say one more thing.
No.
I'm good.
Cool. All right, on my count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Film those sequels, baby.
Baby. All right, so we will see you tomorrow on Radio Chaos, and we'll see you next Friday or Saturday if you live in the future on the Alita Livestream. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Papa.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita Livestream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.